Hi, I'm Libby Gibson, Town Manager. Welcome to What's Going On in Town Government. Boy, has it been a busy week. These short weeks, get lots of stuff crammed into them because Monday was a holiday and I was out on Tuesday. So, my God, was it busy Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. Try to reserve Fridays as an admin day to clean up my desk. Please don't pan around on my desk. But that hasn't worked out as well as I had hoped because Friday tends to be the catch-up day for stuff. And if you've called me and I haven't called you back yet, it's going to be a while. Sorry. Maybe February. Okay, well, try to get it earlier.
Sure.
Board meeting this week. This actually didn't go for as long as I thought it would because of the wind turbine discussion, which was interesting. Okay, town offices are closed Monday the 16th of January in observance of Martin Luther King Jr. Day. We also had a public hearing on the fiscal 13 general fund budget. No comments, no discussion, nothing. What does that tell you?
I don't know. What should it tell me?
I don't know. Is silence, no, I don't know. Silence is golden? I don't know what that means. Anyway, the board is scheduled to adopt its budget recommendations for the general fund next Wednesday. We had a couple gift acceptances and gift uses. Sadly, there was no town manager's report because I just didn't have time to get it prepped. I did mention last week I would try to dig something up, but
You have to do one every week?
I try to do one every week, yes, and I try to just dig up something to report on if I haven't gotten it printed on the agenda. I couldn't even do it for last week. It was
What's
too
the benefit
crazy.
to the board for you to do that?
Well, sometimes there's things that I want them to know. An update on a particular activity or a project or a meeting that I went to or something like that. And a lot of times it's actual printed stuff under town manager's report that I'm reporting on. So I've got some stuff for next week. Anyway, there wasn't really any. Now, when there wasn't anything to report, that doesn't mean there's nothing going on. That probably means there's too much going on. So I didn't get anything dug up for it. Okay, the big thing was a vote on whether or not to include an article for an appropriation for proposed wind turbine at the landfill for the 2012 annual town meeting warrant. We heard a lot of pros, we heard a lot of cons, and there was some discussion. And to make a long story short, the board ended up including an article on the warrant. So this will be going to town meeting, and there will be a subsequent election after that, depending on what happens at town meeting. The board, I think, is also, well, I'll get to that in a second. We're going to have some more discussion about this wind turbine project in the coming weeks. They also continued to discuss town meeting warrant articles generally for 2012. And please do not forget, the 2012 annual town meeting starts on Saturday, March 31st. A lot of people at the board meeting the other night kept talking about annual town meeting in April. It is not in April. It is on Saturday, March 31st. There's a schedule of events relating to town meeting on the town website under town meetings. And if there's any other information you would like to have about town meeting, please email me or somebody in my office.
Is it possible that it would go into Sunday?
No, but it is possible that it would go into Monday.
Oh, yeah.
If we don't finish up on Saturday, we will go to Monday evening.
Instead of it being a 3-nighter or a 2-nighter, you're trying to do it all on Saturday?
Well, that's the intent, and there are other towns in the state that have a town meeting on Saturday and Saturday alone, but occasionally you need to go into other days. We have, believe it or not, a lot more warrant articles than most other towns have. Some other towns have 2 town meetings, an annual in the spring for budget and financial things, and a special in the fall for zoning and bylaw amendments and other stuff. We haven't really traditionally done that. We do it all at the annual. There's pros and cons. So the intent was to try to keep the warrant light for this year, if at all possible, if there's nothing pressingly critical. Now that we get the wind turbine on there, that might be all of Saturday. Who knows? Maybe, probably not, but it's going to take up some time. Anyway, so that is what happened there. And next week's board meeting, January 11th, we've got a resignation. We're going to be having, I'm requesting the board's approval to issue a Health Insurance Reform Act notice. the board accepted the provisions of the Health Insurance Reform Act, which was enacted by the legislature in July of 2011. And what it does, it allows municipalities to make certain types of changes to health insurance plans without formal collective bargaining. There is a very, very specific process that is laid out in the Act and in regulations that were subsequently issued. Once the Act was adopted, they were issued, I think, in December, and it lays out exactly how you do this. So there's a notice, though, that sort of starts the process, and I'm asking the board to endorse the issuance of the notice next week. The savings potential. One of the things you have to do if you are accepting the provisions of this Act is estimate your potential savings from making some of the changes that you're allowed to make. And our estimated savings is about $1 million. So it's not something we can not follow up on. That would be totally irresponsible. So we're following up. In 2009, we had an ad hoc fiscal committee that looked at a variety of things, including ways in which to enhance revenue, ways in which to incur cost savings, and ways in which to become more efficient. And they also looked at developing criteria for essential town services. One of the recommendations that was made, there was a series of recommendations, a number of which we've already done, and a few of which we haven't. And there were some that were sort of, the committee didn't have enough information to make a specific recommendation, but they recommended that certain things continue to be examined. One of them was to examine options for the possible restructuring of the provision of visitor services to the island. So one of the things that I'm asking the board to do as a result of that recommendation is set up a work group to look at that, which will contain a variety of people. So that they're going to be talking about that. We have a recommendation from the Finance Committee to expand the forensic audit of the airport. I mentioned earlier, the board's adopting the fiscal 13.
We're bringing CSI in for the
CSI is coming to town.
Is that what that show is? No.
I don't know.
Whatever. You know those forensic shows?
Yeah, I know those forensic shows. I don't really watch
But that's
them.
not what they're doing.
No.
They're doing
Let's
budget
hope there's no
stuff.
actual dead bodies
This
out
is
there.
budget related.
This is financial related.
Okay.
So the forensic audit was meant to look at some specific projects as well as various operating and management procedures and policies of the airport. So the FinCom had a discussion the other day, evidently. I unfortunately was not able to be there, and they recommended that the board expand the audit to look into some budgetary issues and some other things. I'm not really sure how the board is going to react to this because the forensic audit is well underway. My initial thought, anyway, is we should see how that works out before we start expanding anything. See how it goes. That's just me. I mentioned the fiscal 13 general fund budget recommendation adoption because then the board will take that recommendation to the Finance Committee on January 23rd and they'll start reviewing the budget. They're already reviewing budgetary things now. Now, we're going to have a discussion regarding the review of the proposed Matticat wind turbine. And there was some discussion about this on Wednesday, this past Wednesday. And I think what the board would like to do, based on some individual comments I've heard, is have the energy study and or some of the town's consultants come in and review some very specific topics relating to the turbine, proposed turbine, such as the financials of the project. How will it be financed? How will it be paid back? How will that work? That's one topic.
What are some of the worst case scenarios?
What are some of the worst case scenarios? What are the issues with national grid and net metering and interconnections and stuff like that? So that's one topic. Another topic is the health issues, some of which are not proven or entirely defined, some of which are. So some discussion about those issues. And then thirdly, but maybe not lastly, but three main topics for now anyway, environmental. There's been some concern expressed about avian issues, bird issues, maybe other things like bats, impact.
But didn't they look at this for the last 3 years?
Yes, there has been a study already done on that.
All right.
But people still have concerns, and there is a lot of information on matticatewind.org townmeeting.org website, which is linked from the town website, which is a whole other issue that became controversial over the last couple of weeks about what was and wasn't posted on that website. That is getting resolved now. What we'd like the committee to do and our staff is to post items on that website that are factual and accurate. And we do have some links to opposing views, Common Sense Nantucket or something like that. The opponent group has a website. There's a link on our website to that. Anyway, so these topics are going to be discussed. So the board's going to talk about how to schedule that, how to set it up, that sort of thing. Talking again about 2012 annual town meeting warrant articles and ballot questions. They are scheduled to adopt the warrant and for the town meeting and the annual election on January 18th. So there's not too much time left for that, although we have been talking about it for 3 months now. So that's the agenda for next week. Meanwhile, the Finance Committee is actively meeting 1, 2, 3 times a week right now. Their schedule is posted on the town website under I think it's under budgets, or it's under Finance Committee. But if you are interested in going, please call before you go, because sometimes the schedule changes at the last minute and we're not able to get it updated quickly. My January e-newsletter is coming out very shortly next week, so you're going to want to take a look at that. You can subscribe to it, by the way, by going on the town website. It's very easy. So, Gino, this weather, I'm really just, it's so crazy. It's freezing cold on Wednesday,
Right.
Tuesday, Wednesday, and now it's like 50 degrees outside.
I know it.
Everybody has colds, everybody's sick.
Yep.
Nobody knows
Just
what
over
kind
mine.
of coat to wear.
Yep. It's January.
It's January. Okay, got anything I should
Oh, good.
answer to?
No?